Good morning, dear students. Welcome to a new video on classification of business activity. You are going to find this video very interesting. Moving on, let us classify the business activity. So business activity can be classified into two. One is termed as industry and the other is termed as commerce. Let us move a little deeper into the world of business. So here, when we put these two classifications which talk about industry and commerce, under industry we would be discussing about primary, secondary and tertiary sector. When we talk about commerce, we will talk about trade and auxiliaries to trade in detail. So here you have a chart showing the details of business activity. Now, let us look into the word industry and see how we define it. So, dear students, industry refers to that part of business which is concerned with the production of goods and material. An industry may be classified into primary industry, secondary industry, and tertiary industry. So let us talk about the types of industries in detail. So the first type of industry is called as primary industry. So let us see, what does this industry do? This industry is engaged in extracting, producing and processing of natural resources. Example, extractive industries and genetic industries. Now let us go into further detail and look at the classification of primary industries so that you have little more clarity about primary industries. So talking about the first, which is called as extractive industry. Now here, this industry is engaged in the extraction or collection of useful materials from earth and sea. Example, mining, fishing, agriculture, quarrying, etc. The products of these industries are either directly consumed or it is used as raw material by other industries. Example, coal, crude oil. Now let us talk about genetic industry. This is engaged in the reproduction or multiplication of plants and animals. Example, plant nurseries, poultry farms, cattle breeding, farms, etc. Now, let's move down to the secondary industries, and they are concerned with the materials which have already been produced at the primary stage. Example, oil refinery, manufacturing industries and construction industries. Let us look into the classification of secondary industries in detail. So let's begin with manufacturing industry, and as we all understand, it is engaged with the conversion of raw materials into finished goods. Example, cotton into textiles, timber into furniture. They change the form of goods, that is, raw materials into finished goods and thus create form utility. You can see the example of raw materials that are used in making cement. Example, slag, fly ash, limestone and gypsum all put together is processed, and that is how cement is produced. The manufacturing industries produce consumer goods, industrial goods, and capital goods. Now, let's get into the types of manufacturing industries in detail. So the first is the analytical industry. In this industry, it analyzes and separates different elements from the same material. For example, the oil refinery is producing diesel, petrol, jet fuel, feedstock, liquid petroleum gases, diesel and heating oil, gasoline, etc. Moving on to synthetic industries, this combines various ingredients into a new product. Example, cement is produced from lime, silica, magnesia, etc. Now let's move on to the processing industry. It involves successive stages for manufacturing finished products. The example of paper making process is put in the diagram here in the slide. Example, you have other example could be sugar, etc. Now let's move on to the assembling industries. So here it assembles different component parts to make a new product. Example, assembling of car, assembling of television, assembling of computer, assembling of mobile phones, etc. Now let's move on to construction industries. Now these are engaged in the construction of buildings, dams, roads, bridges, shopping complexes, etc. They use the products of manufacturing industries and extractive industries. Now let's move on to the tertiary sector, and we'll talk about the tertiary industries. So what do the tertiary industries do? They are providing support services to primary and secondary industries, and it forms part of commerce also. Example, all service activities which are auxiliaries to trade like transport, banking, insurance, etc. Thank you, dear students, for being patient. See you in the next video.